Hello, everyone, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet. Now, episode 4, or part 4, I should say, for this week. We are currently in the submissions tier, meaning the people who are submissions level members of the channel in a randomized playlist. Let's see what's next. Here we go.
Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the...
No, I will not see you. Get out of here.
Nuclear weapons are stored in some of the most protected facilities on the planet, ensuring that without proper authorization, no one can get even remotely close to them.
Okay.
However, sometimes nukes have to be transported from one facility to another, meaning that a weapon with the power to destroy an entire city is now rolling right through one, transported along the very same roads that we all use every day. It is...
All right, do I even have to address the fact that the guy has a speech impediment like Elmer Fudd? Can we just get out of the way? All right? He's not pronouncing his R's. He's pronouncing them like W's. Okay, can we continue now? I just had to get it out of the way. Okay, now let's go.
An incredible security challenge.
Incredible.
So much that the US government has created an entire agency tasked with this one job. This is how the US transports nuclear weapons.
Okay. So it's just on a truck, but they have it with a ton of security detail. Okay.
What we see here is a convoy, as it is typically used for the transport of nuclear materials. The exact configuration always depends on the route being taken.
Now,
and
before we even get into the meat of it, I would be fascinated to know, did anyone ever snoop out one of these convoys and attempt to steal a nuke? Because obviously it's so important. I mean, this is a devastating weapon that could kill so many people that you absolutely need to have this kind of protection. But did anyone ever try to foil this and steal the nuke? I'm just curious.
how sensitive the nuclear material transported is. Although not necessarily the case, it is common practice, especially in cities, for the convoy to be accompanied at the front and rear by local police cars. This offers protection, and it also ensures that the vehicles can drive through more densely populated areas without ever stopping. The actual convoy begins behind the police and consists of several armored vehicles close to the truck. These are so-called Bearcats, which are bulletproof vehicles that allow the...
What were the chance we'd have 2 Bearcats in 1 week? We already had a Bearcat in the very first video this week. Go check that out if you haven't seen it yet.
agents to be protected from attacks and at the same time counter them. Across the entire car there are multiple gun holes through which...
So hold on, Dabhand says nukes are always deactivated when being transported. Even if you stole it, you couldn't use it. You say that, but obviously there's a reason why they're defending them like this, right? Perhaps someone could find a way to activate it. Perhaps they could break it down and just use it for its raw materials as opposed to actually detonating it, right? And that's just dangerous, right? DJ Texan says, you would think they would have made this not so obvious. My guess is they do these transports in the middle of the night. Likely. You don't want to have chance of traffic jams and stuff, right? Of course.
shots can be fired without the agents having to step outside the vehicle. The federal agents inside are equipped with handguns, shotguns, and assault rifles, bringing enough firepower to neutralize any potential threat. And in some cases, a powerful machine gun with protective plating is mounted on top of a Bearcat, providing even more firepower. But all of this is only in case a dangerous situation arises, in which the nuclear cargo has to be defended.
By the way, I have to call out, this is CGI. You can tell that, right? I wonder what this guy uses to generate the CGI. It's not bad. It's certainly not great. It doesn't look photorealistic, but it's not bad for like homebrew CGI. So I wonder how it's done.
Of weapons. On a normal drive, the agents in these cars are busy taking precautions to prevent such a situation from even happening, as all these vehicles serve as a rolling communication center. The cars are equipped with audio devices that enable 3 different levels of communication. First, the cars can talk to each other, enabling them to quickly coordinate what to do in the event of an unforeseen incident. On the second level of communication, agents regularly check in with other supporting forces in the area. According to safety regulations, at least 7 armed vehicles must always accompany a nuclear convoy. but only 5 of them are visible here. This is because the other 2 vehicles are positioned in remote monitoring locations. For example, positioned a few miles ahead to keep a lookout.
Aha.
The commander, who sits in one of the cars accompanying the nuclear transporter, calls these remote agents every 30 minutes to receive updates about potential threats along the route. This separation also guarantees that communication systems can't be knocked out in one fell swoop, as should anything happen to the 5 vehicles within the convoy, the other 2 can still radio for assistance. Furthermore, there is a third level of communication, as the agents are in constant contact with the Transportation and Emergency Control Center, located in Albuquerque, New Mexico. From here, all nuclear transports within the United States are coordinated. From the control center, the staff tracks all vehicles across the country transporting high-risk cargo, and in the event of an attack, they can request additional local police forces for assistance. In this unlikely scenario that the control center orders additional regular police to help out a nuclear transport, there is a set protocol in place for how they should engage. The control center establishes a set of passwords and transmits those to the crew of the convoy and through the dispatcher to local police forces arriving on the scene.
So, I mean, there's tons of redundancy, and there's even secret passwords to make sure it's not someone messing with them and trying to take over the system. That's pretty crazy when you think about it, right? That is pretty wild.
When the police arrives, both sides shout out their part of the password.
Metal Agent, Bravo! Team on!
This is to make sure that enemies cannot pose as police in order to gain access to nuclear cargo. It is just one of countless protocols that outlines exactly how the agents have to act in what scenario, resulting in a thorough system of safety protocols that supplements military force and firepower.
Right.
In the middle of all these cars is the heart of the convoy, the Safeguard Transporter, a completely custom-made vehicle that is used to transport nuclear bombs. The hull of the truck is made from a sturdy metal, rendering the vast majority of conventional tools ineffective. No amount of cutting or sawing will be enough to break through the hold, nor will any accident be violent enough to crack open the shell and spill any potentially dangerous contents out on the road or countryside.
There you go. So yes, they get into a horrible accident, but it would never be punctured. That container would always be intact, making no risk to people around. Okay.
Fire won't do much good either, as the hold is designed to be entirely flame resistant and can hold strong for hours on end.
That is not
The
it. You can tell
driver
it's
is
just stock
also
footage.
safe, as bulletproof glass lines the windshield and windows, and the doors can only be opened from the inside. While its heavy weight of 25 tons could appear to be a disadvantage, prohibiting it from doing quick evasive maneuvers, the security concept for this transporter actually uses the weight to its advantage, as it keeps the vehicle stuck to the road and means an enormous force would be required to tip it on its side.
You know what's weird though? They just said that it can only be opened from the inside. Now, how's that possible? Are you telling me they designed it so that from the moment that it was created and the door was put in place, if the doors accidentally close with no one inside, they can never open it again? It's completely impenetrable. They have no way to open it at all. No backup key, no wireless way in. You know what I'm saying? That would be kind of ridiculous. You'd always have to have the door of this open no matter what. If it ever accidentally closes, you just screwed yourself. Right? Man, I don't know. That sounds wild.
Additionally, should the convoy find itself in a serious emergency, small explosives are rigged to the axle bar under the truck. When detonated, these explosives destroy the axle, bringing the vehicle to a complete stop and making it pretty much immovable. Should anyone try to haul the trailer away, they'd find themselves dragging a large chunk of heavy metal against the road with no wheel support. And access through the doors to the cargo hold is impossible outside of the designated high-security areas, where the United States military holds the electronic keys that unlock the doors. Nonetheless, if for whatever reason...
It's an electronic key. I thought you just said you could only be opened from the inside. If it's an electronic key, couldn't it be opened from the outside? Unless they're not saying it's not wireless. Maybe they're saying it's an electronic key, but it opens it from the inside. Okay. Now, I was going to say if it's a wireless signal, I think this whole system's faulty. But if it's not wireless, I guess it works then. I don't know.
Someone did break through the doors. The transporter's cargo hold can automatically spray a thick foam on any intruders.
What?
This would massively impair their movement and effectively stick them to the ground.
What?
If the foam isn't enough, a powerful electric shock can be sent through the cargo hold to knock out any remaining attackers.
What? Where is
inside.
this? This is fucking James Bond shit. A fucking paralyzing, immobilizing foam and an electric shock. What the hell? If we have this technology, why isn't it used in other ways? Why? Right? That's crazy. Give me some immobilizing foam. Get the fucker out of that plane from the first video today, right? Come out in a big block of foam, right? That would be awesome.
All of these security measures serve to make it virtually impossible for nukes, the most destructive weapons ever created by mankind, to fall into the wrong hands. And none of this is to mention that the entire convoy is watched by 2 US military helicopters prowling the sky, providing a bird's eye view of the mission. The National Nuclear Security Administration has never lost a single weapon en route to base in its entire history, and given the levels of security each one receives, it's easy to see why.
All right, so you heard what he just said, and that kind of answers the question. He says they have never lost a single nuke. Even if someone tried, they failed miserably. Okay, that was fascinating. Let's continue. This next one's interesting to me, and here's why. This video apparently is going to say that K-Cup coffee is a scam. Now, I have a K-Cup brewer. I've had it for a very long time. Ever since I drank coffee, I used K-Cups. I've never actually had a coffee maker that did not have K-Cups. I'm serious. So let's hear why K-Cup brewing is a scam. I want to hear why.
So I think it's generally known that the coffee that you drink out of a coffee pod is not very good.
That is awful. What is going on there?
But it's not just that coffee served in these cute little pods is worse than brewing a dark roast through your old socks. These things are a part of a special class of terrible consumer products that a lot of people fail to understand.
I don't even know what he means. He's saying that the K-Cups don't taste good? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I've had coffee from a coffee shop. I've had coffee from my K-Cup at home. It tastes the same. I don't know what he's talking about. I'm serious, too. I've had, like, the Starbucks coffee at home tastes the same as the one they brew at the Starbucks store. There's no difference. So I don't even know what he's talking about, but let's see.
Back in the early 90s, a low-level marketing manager by the name of John Sylvan quit his job and started to work on a device where he could brew a single cup of coffee from a single plastic pod. An invention that he would famously go on to regret.
John Sylvan is the man behind the K-Cup. In an interview in The Atlantic, he says the pods are expensive to use, and he feels bad he ever invented them.
This device would then ironically be named the Keurig, which comes from the Danish word for excellence. It's like people who name their dogs Killer, and they're like a Chihuahua, but I guess like the opposite of that. This cute little pod would go on to change the way millions of people drink their coffee worldwide, create mountains of trash in landfills all over the world in the process, and push Keurig to a billion-dollar brand in the extremely competitive coffee industry. But while the invention of coffee pods themselves was groundbreaking, the marketing tactics that made it successful were not. See, most of Keurig's profits don't come from the Keurig devices themselves.
Right.
In fact, a lot of their machines are actually sold at a loss. Rather, 90% of the money that they earn comes from those little pods.
Makes sense.
While this might seem precarious, it's actually a very good business model. This novelty brewing technique guaranteed that coffee drinkers would buy their specific products every time they realized they needed a refill. It is what is known as the razor blade business model, or the old bait and hook. This strategy was pioneered by Gillette, which makes its money by selling unreasonably priced razor blades, initially attracting customers with their really cheap handles, sometimes even giving them away for free. I actually have a whole video about this on my original channel where I talk about leaf shave, which is a zero waste way to shave that doesn't gouge you every time that you need to buy razor blades. But plenty of other companies do a variation of the exact same thing. game console giants such as Microsoft make literally no money off the Xbox consoles, but instead make all their money off of the games that they sell. Service providers lure customers in with the latest smartphone given away at a discount, but you have to sign up for a huge data plan with a whole bunch of service fees and extra charges.
Correct. Yeah, this is all
Done
correct.
well, this model can make a company extremely rich. But it does require a business to have some control over what can be used with their products. That's why for Keurig, things weren't looking so good when their patent expired in 2013. Suddenly, that meant that anyone who even knew what coffee was could start making pods for their coffee makers. Desperate to protect their hard-earned monopoly, Keurig turned to one of the most successful industries in the bait and hook game: printers.
Oh, God.
Like Keurig, printers
Printer
are often
cartridges.
sold very cheaply with the intentions of getting their customers hooked on their ink cartridges. They're notoriously expensive, low-quality ink cartridges. But you can't just make terrible, overpriced products, right? I mean, people will just go and buy something else. And printer companies knew this. So they found a way to create their own mini monopolies within the industry. This has probably happened to you. You've gone into the store to look for printer ink, and you can't just buy whatever ink is best and cheapest or on sale. You're supposed to buy the specific ink for your specific printer, and if you don't, it won't work.
Yep.
See, printer companies have gone out of their way to make sure that their printers only work with their brand of ink, even going so far as to install microchips in the ink cartridges themselves that won't allow you to print anything off-brand. There's a great video by Austin McConnell where he talks about exactly this, and it is fascinating. Now, inkjet printers...
there's a whole second-hand industry. What they do, these companies will take your empty ink cartridges and fill it with ink again, and then they sell it to you back at a discount. So basically, the microchip's still in there because it's the original ink cartridge from the manufacturer, but it just has a new ink supply in it, and they sell them for a discount. You could get stuff like that off of Amazon or other websites. I've done that before. But yeah, infamously, the ink industry is a complete scam ripoff, and they do it on purpose to make insane amounts of money. And they've never changed. I mean, that's been like 25 years. They're still going strong.
Have been readily available since the 70s. They really don't require any fancy microchip technology to work, but it's in the best interests of businesses like HP to continue developing increasingly complicated and enticing cartridge technology so that they have an excuse to, first, rack up their prices for new flashy features you don't need, and two, somehow pretend that they can't use the other cartridges made by those other guys. I mean, check this out. HP is going on and on about like their fancy infrared ink technology or something, and it's like, dudes, I don't care about what infrared laser beams you're using to print this stuff. I just need a packing slip. Like, relax. And this is where Keurig 2.0 comes in.
I don't have that.
Unlike earlier models, the 2.0 uses a secret patented technology so that only Keurig-approved products work with the machines. You see the connection there? Do you see what we did? They're printers, but they're for coffee. Anyway. With this new update, basically anything that wasn't made by Keurig got this dreaded error message, and basically you'd have to make your own coffee like a peasant. Imagine this for a second. Like if you bought a vehicle and you could only use their specific type of fuel or like charging stations, like you would be totally bound to depend on them for everything, and there would be no other way around it. That would be crazy, right? Tesla. Now, Keurig has since faced lawsuits for price fixing and anti-competitive conduct, blah, 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 blah. And they have just settled a $31 million suit over the issue. Fortunately for the little guys, like many a massive controlling empire, Keurig seems to have underestimated the cleverness of everyday people. Turns out the Keurig 2.0 uses infrared scanners to detect a special ink in their K-Cups, not unlike those ink cartridges we talked about earlier. Before long, Keurig owners developed a simple hack to trick the scanner by using old K-Cup labels, and some companies simply used similar ink in their own products to make them work.
Simply saying that life
Finds a way.
Finds a way.
Unfortunately, many customers don't know to check the price of the ink or the coffee pods or the razors before they buy the thing. We get caught up in what looks like a super great deal, and when we do need a refill, we're stuck with this microchipped infrared bubble crap that most of us don't even really need. And this is the real problem, because it's not just Keurig that's doing this. All of the different pod companies and printer companies in all of these different industries have their own proprietary technology that make it impossible to use anything else but what they give you. They want you to be choiceless so that you're stuck with them no matter what.
I will say one thing though, because here's my take on it, and it may be very different from yours or his. Unlike the printer industry, where they 100% are scamming you and charging you way too much money for their printer ink because they did this microchip bullshit, right? With K-Cups, the reason that K-Cups work is very simple, because you're not paying more money for the coffee. You're paying more money for the convenience, right? If you don't have a K-Cup brewer, how do you make coffee? Well, you either need to take a coffee pot brewer, take the grains of coffee you bought in a bag, scoop the grains into the fucking thing through a filter, run the whole goddamn thing. Then when it's done, you got to take that soggy mess of coffee grounds and filter, take it out and throw it out. You got to clean it up because probably the coffee grounds went everywhere, which happens frequently. Or even more so to that, there's the people who claim you have to fresh grind your own beans for the best flavor. So now you're buying beans, you're putting into a big press thing, you're chopping the fucking things into the grounds first before then you do the whole brewing process. Here's the deal. In the morning, I get up. I got shit to do. I got to use the bathroom, shower. I go downstairs. I pop in my K-Cup coffee. I get it brewing. As it's brewing, I'll make a bagel, right? I get all that going. I eat, I drink, done. I'm up here to run my stream. It doesn't take me longer than maybe 2 minutes tops to make a cup of coffee, if that. And there's no mess to clean up whatsoever. I'm done. When I got to make my next cup of coffee, I open it up, I take out the old one, toss it, put in a new one, pop, done. 2 more minutes, cup of coffee's brewed. Excuse me. That's the convenience of K-Cup. That's the reason why you want the pods. If you don't have the pods, you are literally creating this big time-wasting mess every time you brew coffee. That's why they brew it in pots, because it's only worth the pain in the ass if I brew a giant pot that I keep warm and I drink multiple cups. For me, just having the one cup instantly is perfect. And by the way, maybe I want a cup of dark roast. My wife wants a cup of medium or light roast. And that way we can immediately go, boom, boom, 2 different kinds of that coffee without making a mess. I had to brew a whole pot of the one and then the other. It's just convenient. It's convenience and time saving. That's the advantage of K-Cups. It actually does have a difference from brewing regular coffee. He's claiming it tastes worse. That is complete nonsense. It tastes exactly the same. It's the same hot water you're putting through the same goddamn coffee grounds into a cup of coffee. What he's doing is he's kind of trying to 100% down talk K-Cups because it's the purpose of his video. But the truth is it's the same. Okay? Now, are K-Cups more expensive? Yes. But you can actually find ways around it. You can get them on sale. You can buy them in bulk. Also, do K-Cups create more trash? Yes, that is true. But there's recycling programs for them. The ones I buy, which is actually a Hawaiian blend of coffee, uses an eco-friendly cup. It's actually made of like a paper mesh that is 100% biodegradable. So once you use it, it immediately can get put into compost, and it's fine. That's the ones I use. And there are companies that do that. Not all of them mass produce the plastic ones. So there's definitely ways around that. Basically what he's done, this video, the truth about coffee pods, here's the truth. It's an industry much like ink cartridges where they're trying to get you to pay a premium so they make more money off of coffee, right? But what are they selling you? Coffee, convenience, no mess, speed. There's all these things they're selling you all at once. They're not just selling you the coffee. In the case of the ink cartridge, they're just selling you the ink and nothing else. You're not getting any benefit out of buying that specific fucking ink cartridge for that printer. But you do get a benefit from buying the K-Cup. A ton of benefits, actually. So, unless you're someone who's a coffee aficionado, oh my God, there's an off note to my cup of coffee today. Who cares? I'm drinking the coffee to get a coffee buzz so I can have my day. I'm not drinking this to have a gourmet cup of anything in the morning. I don't care about that, right? If you're not a big snob about coffee and you have a busy life and you don't want to spend time brewing pots and cleaning shit up, then it's actually worth the premium to pay to get the K-Cups, okay? But if not, then don't get the K-Cups, right? It's that simple. I do feel like, sadly, this video is a slight misrepresentation of the situation around K-Cups. Did you notice not once in the video did he mention the convenience factor, that it's much faster to brew just a single cup, that you only have to brew a single cup, not a pot, and you're stuck with a pot. There's no cleanup after. He hasn't mentioned any of that. He ignored all those factors and just said, oh, it's a ripoff like this, but it's not. He's lying, or I should say more, he's telling a half-truth to get his point across. So there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was part 4 of DSP versus the internet. I hope that you are enjoying the show. I'll be back with 2 more parts of these submissions to your videos. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.